Welcome to How to Run Profitable Retreats podcast, the podcast that guides you not to only host retreats that thrive financially, but also transform people's lives. I'm your host, Leni Cavazos, and each week I bring you the best strategies and personal insights to help you create retreat experiences that transform lives, both your clients and your own. In our journey together, we'll dive into the secrets behind successful retreats, from crafting a unique atmosphere to mastering the logistics that ensure profitability. Whether you're tuning in for inspiring interviews with leading retreat experts or seeking actionable advice in our solo episodes, this podcast is your go-to resource for turning your retreat visions into reality. Don't miss out on any of our episodes and subscribe now. For more tools and a free guide on creating your own six-figure retreat business, visit theretreatplanner.com. Now let's get started and make your retreat dreams come true. Hello, welcome here today to this episode where I have Jenay joining us for a beautiful, beautiful talk about retreats on demand. So I'm so excited for us to get to share and talk about what retreats on demand mean and how could this impact your business and how you can make it more profitable and how you can change your business in this sense, right? Like, what is a retreat on demand? So we're gonna be talking to Jenay, who's the Chief Experience Curator at Bliss Experiences, the primary guide at Lake Tahoe Yoga and Enlightening Coach, where she applies her degrees in counseling and psychology, as well as her training as an ERYT 500 to create guided experiences that connect retreat participants with nature and themselves in Lake Tahoe. So Jenay, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to this podcast. I'm so excited to be talking to you today so we can really explore what retreats on demand are and how do you make that happen in Lake Tahoe.
Well, right now we're wondering how we make anything happen in Lake Tahoe. But yeah, I kind of created my own little market here after being a yoga teacher for a very long time. I opened my first yoga studio in 2008 here in Tahoe. And as time went on and the market became saturated, I started exploring other options. And I know that there's this huge market for retreats, right? Everybody's traveling everywhere. They're going to Costa Rica, they're going to Mexico, they're traveling all over the United States. And Tahoe is an incredibly magical, beautiful place. If you haven't been here, it's definitely worth a visit. Wait till the snow has melted if you're not into that kind of thing. The summers here are amazing. And of course, if you're into snow, the winters here will blow your mind. And I don't really like to travel and work at the same time. And so I thought about, well, I live in this incredible place. There's so much to do here. People are coming here all the time looking to do these things. Why don't I offer them the chance to basically have a customized experience when they're here that gets them out into nature, that helps them connect with the beauty of the basin and also connect with residents and professionals and small businesses who need the love and the attention, but also are really, truly passionate and dedicated to the area.
Oh, I love this. It's like I'm getting goosebumps just speaking about this. And, I remember when I met you, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I haven't been to Lake Tahoe myself, but it's on my wish list and I'm definitely going to make it there. But I know it's such a magical and a special place. And I agree. I so many times I have the opportunity to go on trips and I'm like, I don't want to work while I'll travel. I want to be traveling, right? Like, I'm like, should I go for 3 months to Europe and then work from Europe? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'd rather go 3 weeks where like I really take them off and then I do my work at another point because then it gets mixed and confused, right? So I love that you took this initiative and just decided to bring retreats to where you're at, right? Not the other way around. Now, like so many people are planning retreats, and a lot of the people in this audience are probably planning retreats, and their goal is to actually plan retreats, international retreats, right? So they get to travel. And yes, it's an absolutely amazing idea. But what about thinking it the other way? I always like to think the things in the like, how can you do things differently? How can you shift it? How can you do it in a way that serves you, not it's not a cookie cutter answer, right? So
Right.
it's amazing.
Well, and also, I'm a small business owner. You're a small business owner. Most of us who are running retreats are small business owners, and I think one of the biggest reasons we burn out and are so exhausted is because we don't take vacations, because we're like, well, I can't take a vacation because I have to work, I have to make money, I have to support my business. So I wanted to create something that gave me the opportunity to actually be able to vacation, so that I can decide to take a break from the visitors. I can decide to take a break from teaching, from being the guide, from being the leader. And so giving people the opportunity to have a vacation where someone else is the leader, someone else is the guide, someone else has organized everything, so they get that break. And this seems to be, for me, at least, it's a really perfect marriage. And it also is introducing visitors to the basin to things that they might not have considered before. There's a ton of money in the casinos and the hotels, and there's tons of money in the motorized watercraft and all of those things that cost a lot of money, but also there's huge corporations behind them. And then there's all of us small business owners, lots of women-owned businesses in the Tahoe Basin who are not necessarily able to compete in that market. And so by creating a place where we can all connect together and we can offer our services, opens the door for then more word of mouth to spread, and of course to create awareness for those people visiting the basin that, hey, you can do things that allow you peace and quiet and self-care, and they aren't that expensive, and you get this locals perspective, right? And when you live somewhere, you don't really, you get to really know the place, but when you visit somewhere, you often get this like surface level experience.
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's all about actually getting connected, like deeper with the community, right? Like experiencing something that is more authentic and more real. And then I would love to know, how would you define what a retreat on demand is? Because, it's a concept that is not seen very often. It's not seen everywhere. We always consider more the other side. We launch a retreat and then we find the people who come, right? But, so tell us a little bit about, how do you define for a retreat on demand for our audience who are wondering, what is this? How can I do this? Should I be having retreats on demand?
Yeah, well, so the my favorite thing about this is that you can do this solo, right? So retreat on demand could be, and I do this, I need to get away for a weekend. I just need a break, right? And that individual reaches out to Bliss Experiences and says, I want to be in Tahoe for 3 days. Here are the things I enjoy doing. I want to take a hike. I want to eat good food. I want to have a wine tasting. I want a sound healing experience, right? And so then we curate all these things. The professionals get together, and now you get this, the person booking gets this one-on-one experience, right? Where like everything is about them and their desires for the weekend, and it gets to be timed based on their timing, and it's very customized to their desires. But then on the other side, if you have, say, and this is much more often what happens here in Tahoe, is there's a group and it's the girls getaway, right? Where like it's a bunch of friends from college who they get together every year and they want to come to Tahoe this year. And so they reach out and say, we're coming to Tahoe. Here's the interests of the group. And again, we just build this experience for them. And they as a group get to bond a little tighter. They get to spend time together being themselves. And the great thing about it is that it's not there, you don't have to go through this phase of like getting to know each other and like feeling comfortable or not comfortable, and we don't, there isn't this experience of being an outsider, because you're coming in already as a bonded group. And so we can curate, we can customize everything to serve the needs of the group. And so that's where the on-demand piece really is important. If you want to meet other people, then this experience might not be what you're looking for. But if you're looking to have a closer bond with your family, your friends, with yourself, with your partner, then that's what these experiences are all about. And that's the on-demand piece, is here's what we're interested in. And then we're giving you that depth of experience, that deeper awareness of yourself. And then of course that opportunity to connect with Tahoe.
I love this. I really, really love it. For me, coming from a hospitality background and working for like a Ritz-Carlton, that it was all luxury, very tailored, extremely customized, like thank you letters with the name of the guest, like really taking it up a notch. is something that I love, right? It's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
in my blood. Like, it's like, even if someone tells me do something very simple, I can't,
Yeah.
like, it's part of who I am to just make sure that the experience is as connective as possible, right? That it creates this beautiful space for people to just show up and be so much more and just enjoy, right? And having the opportunity to choose your dates, right? Because in a retreat on them, and tell me if there is something missing, right? You choose your dates, you choose your activities, you choose where you want to be, what you want to do, and
Yeah. And
then
who you want to be with, right?
yeah, yes, and most importantly, you choose who you want to be with.
And I come at this from, I definitely am a very independent individual. I like to, take vacations off the beaten path away from other people. And also I come from this with a yogic perspective, right? And I've practiced yoga from the perspective of this is an individualized experience, and what I'm doing as a teacher is holding space for each individual. And during a class, my expectation isn't for everybody to connect with each other. It's for each individual to have their space and be held within that space and be able to connect with themselves. And so it's definitely a very different perspective from the like, hey, I'm running a retreat, April, whatever to whenever in Italy, come hang out with me. It's definitely more of a like, turn inward, reconnect with yourself, reconnect with your loved ones, have that deeper experience. And so, yeah, you get to choose all the things, and then we show up and try to hold that space for you.
That's amazing. And as a business owner, do you believe have been the biggest benefits that you have found from hosting retreats on demand? Because I know you had a yoga studio before, and then now this is also complementing everything that you do, right? So it's not your only thing, but what are the big things that you're like, since I opened this is the things that I feel are amazing?
Well, my favorite thing is getting people out into Tahoe in ways that they wouldn't normally choose. And paddle yoga or paddleboard tours is one of my favorite examples because everybody's like, oh, I'm going to rent a boat on Tahoe or a jet ski, or we're going to rent a house on the lake. But then when I get them out on the paddle boards and I give them, there's a little tour guide aspect to it, right? You're going to get a little bit of history and a little bit of science and a little bit of, geology and all this as we paddle out. That experience of being on the water in the early morning, most people that's outside of their comfort zone. And really getting to experience this sensation of the peace and the calm and the quiet of the lake. And though that experience, almost always we finish and go, everybody sits up, or opens their eyes after Shavasana, and they just go, that was amazing. That was incredible. Holy cow, And the same thing happens with forest bathing, you take a walk, you take a hike, whatever, but when you go forest bathing, now you're getting more information about the plants and the trees, the flora and the fauna, and then what Tahoe is all about, and then what it means to be out here. And we do things like smell the trees because our trees have smells. And again, it's one of those experiences. People come back, and I always get feedback because I don't guide the forest bathing. I have a provider that does that. And they're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I can't wait to bring my friends. So that's the reward for us, is just when people, their eyes are opened and they get to have this incredible experience. And then they go tell their friends. And we get that feedback, and then also those bookings that come from word of mouth. That's the biggest success for us. Everything else is pretty much business as usual, like throwing money at advertising and hoping it works here and there. But it's when people actually have the tangible experience with us, and they go home and they think about it, and it's on their mind, and they tell their friends months later, years later, and I'll get emails from people making referrals a year, 2 years later. They'll be like, do you remember I came and we did this? And often I remember people. Every once in a while I don't, but often I do. I'll be like, yeah, I remember you did this. And it's just that connection. That's really the most powerful aspect.
I love it. I can't wait to plan an on-demand retreat with you, because for my family or something like this, that would be amazing. Because in my family, we are also all in the world of retreat planning, and my brother, my mom, they have a retreat center in Mexico, right? And then I teach people how to plan retreats. So we're all in the business. So we went on holidays last year in August to Costa Rica. And honestly, we went, and our holiday was like a retreat. My brother travels on a retreat style. Like, so we were like, we rented a retreat venue, right, for the
Mhm.
family and a couple of friends. We had our yoga shala. We had a cook. We had this. We had like, we rented a car. We would go to these like nice restaurants. There was like one of my brother's friends. He does like bhakti practice and kirtan. So every morning at 6 in the morning, whoever wanted to show up could go and sing some kirtan, and then there was like a 2 hour yoga session. And or you could just go to the beach or watch the monkeys, or whatever. It was very free flow, but it was in a retreat style. It was very, very interesting. My brother and my mom and are going to India. They're also going in that way. They're going into a yatra. Like it's also about like the energy that you bring into your holidays, right? Like,
Right.
how do you bring the things together? And it's amazing to have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to do a holiday vacation that is not just the same old thing where we rent a ski house and then we're going to go and connect deeper with the place where we're at, with the people who we are with, and just basically surrender.
Yeah. Well, and this whole idea started a long time ago, back in 2014. We actually went to Cambodia, and I ran a yoga retreat in collaboration with a former teacher who I was working with. And while I said, when we go to Cambodia, I want to see Cambodia. I want to actually experience that country. And the way we built the retreat was based around the things we wanted to do while we were there. We wanted to learn the history, right? The recent history of Cambodia, and do things like go to the killing fields. And we wanted to visit a hospital and an orphanage and donate, but we also wanted to go to Angkor Wat and see the temples and have that tour. And so instead of being like, oh, let's find an American or like a, you know, developed ashram or something to go to, we were like, no, we want to be on the ground and we want to be part of this community and meet the people. And it was such an incredible experience, and so different from when you go on a retreat to a retreat center and you're in that center, and like you said, the food is catered for you and everything's happening in that space. And so I took that idea and I was like, here's Tahoe. It's this beautiful, incredible place where there's so much to see. Why come here and just stay in a resort or stay in a retreat center? Why not experience the whole thing? And I've reached out actually and created new bonds and new connections with the hotels in the area and with the other business professionals in the area who are like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's okay to let people leave our property and go experience Tahoe. They're going to appreciate our spot more because we made recommendations outside of our general area.
Oh, I totally agree. And for anyone who's listening here and you live in a beautiful, beautiful location that maybe it's even underdeveloped or overdeveloped, it doesn't really matter. And you are in this work of transformation and spiritual change and just bringing something good into the world, whatever, however that looks like, it doesn't really matter, right? Think about this. What about actually testing it and then saying, hey, how can I create or curate, right? An experience that has transformation, but also takes into consideration the culture and the people that is around us, right? How do we help? How do we create things that are also not just for us, but it helps the community and the people who are living with you? Because then if they grow, you grow, everyone grows, right? And it becomes super, super magical. So there is an invitation here, a huge, huge invitation for all these retreat leaders and hosts who are thinking or already planning retreats to consider, what if you hosted retreats on demand where you're at, or on demand in different locations, right? Like choosing your first locations that you really like, and then you can expand. But thinking about this option where you provide this really like nurtured space for people to come into retreats, right?
Yeah, no matter where you live, where you live, right? And you're, I hope, intimately connected with your community as retreat leaders, yoga teachers, right? Wellness providers. And the magic of your location. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can create opportunities to help people connect with the community and introduce them to how magical and amazing it is, and also to connect with themselves through that experience that they're having. And, in my head, I'm just like, I've been to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and that place is magical. And I've been to Madison, Wisconsin, and that place is magical. So, no matter where you are, there's definitely an opportunity.
So is there anything else that you would like to share in this call that you're like, oh, people need to hear this? Or, this is like, if I had a magic wand, this is what I would get. Something that you really, really like, you feel like you need to put out there.
It's okay to do it alone, right? Like, doing things on your own gives you the opportunity to truly realize what it is you need in your life. And I always think about Runaway Bride and how at the end of the movie, Julia Roberts finally makes eggs and she tries all the different eggs and decides what kind of eggs she wants. And that's basically what we should be doing when we're going on retreats and when we're living our lives, is what is it that serves you? What is it that truly brings you joy and happiness? And it's okay to do things alone.
Amazing. I love this. Oh, this is so, so good. I think this conversation was so juicy. We want to keep it very like sweet and short in a way that, people get the most out of it. And for anyone listening to this podcast, just make sure to, if you like this episode, to rate the podcast, or, to leave a comment underneath if you're watching the video option of this. And at the same time, like, just tell us, would you be willing to host a retreat on demand, or you want to go in a different direction? And if so, what is that direction, right? We want to listen what's happening out there, because there's such a need for people to heal in this world. And there is enough people to go and fill up every single retreat that is meant to be filled. So don't worry about this, like no one is going to steal your clients. It's going to be awesome. So thank you so much for listening. I want to let Jenay here talk a little bit about how you can reach out to her. And she has an amazing special offer for you. So when you are in Lake Tahoe, you definitely make sure you reach out to her.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always happy to talk about what I'm doing here. And then I'm also happy to be a guide. And as was mentioned, I am a realignment coach. And so if you need any support in creating your program, I'm happy to help you. So you can find me at blisstahoe.com. And you can always drop an email at blisstahoe@gmail.com. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And yeah, I'm offering 10% off any scheduled practices at Bliss Experiences. That includes our scheduled yoga classes and also healing sound, but we're always adding new scheduled experiences. So keep your eyes open. And there's a code that will be dropped in the comments, I'm assuming.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Jenay. This has been amazing. Such a beautiful, beautiful experience. Thank you for taking the time to spend it with us. And I will see you very soon.
Sounds great.
Bye.
Wow, what a great episode. If you like our podcast, How to Run Profitable Retreats, leave us a review and share it with a friend.